So hello everybody. Yes, I'm Kim Serafini, the founder, CEO, the creator of Positive Prime Sessions. And it is such an honor, privilege and pleasure to be working with Patty Krummer very, very closely with some gorgeous human beings who've actually become friends we admire and we respect. And we certainly are super excited about co-creating with. And that is Max Newlon, who's the president of Brain Co and FocusCalm. We'll get him to come on out and introduce himself. And one of his colleagues, I can see Laurence is here as well. So we are indeed fortunate. You are here in a very privileged position. I hope you'll feel that and understand that and know that at the end of this little presentation. But it takes a special kind of person, I believe, to be plugged into what I would term the quantum field in order to find yourself in the best place at the best time. That's even better than at the right place at the right time. And that's now with us here. There are amazing advances in technology, but technology and its advances is not enough. It needs to be driven by people who actually have purity in their hearts and who are motivated by doing something really grand that's much bigger than themselves. And that's why I think that this is a very rare and beautiful opportunity for all of us. And that's because it's not often we get to work with people and play with people and collaborate with people who are decent, have a massive vision for doing something that's enduring and meaningful and significant, and will involve so many more people than we could ever imagine at the beginning. So the ripple effects are huge. So without further ado, Patty, would you like to add anything before we ask Max to essentially share a story? This is going to be very relaxed and casual, a little bit like an interview. Yes, of course, there's a couple of slides that we want to show you with some details on it because some people quite like words written on flat pieces of paper. That's okay. And some of us just dance through life and hope that someone like Mayumi basically fixes everything up behind me. So we've got a little bit of both. Patty?
Yeah, I would just share one thing, which is it's really a privilege to work behind the scenes with people, and it's also when you see who they really are. And I have loved working behind the scenes to prepare the course that's coming up here in another couple of weeks with Max and Laurence and others on his team that I've worked with. So I just wanted to really say that it's great on the outside and it's really great also on the inside. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how you all make the most of this opportunity. And I'm glad to know you, Max, and to be here tonight. Thanks, Kim.
I absolutely love that. All righty. So, Max, would you like to come on out and share with a little bit of us your humanness, as well as your brilliance as a leader of one of the fastest growing, most phenomenal and exciting transformative technologies on the planet?
I'd be happy to. And first, let me just say thank you to everyone for your attention tonight as we dip our toes into neuroscience, brain-computer interface, and what it means for the work that we all do, both for ourselves and also with our clients. To answer your question, Kim, I think it's maybe an interesting place to start would be my lifelong interest in human potential. So even from a young age, I was really interested in meditation, which I learned through practices in martial arts. And through my undergrad and grad school, there's this thread of always wanting to understand what's possible if we train our minds, if we train our brains. So a lot of my work in neuroscience research, studying the impact of yoga and meditation on the brain, what sets high-level yogis apart from people who don't practice, what's going on inside their brains, and then of course the work that we're doing with Brain Co in helping to unlock the potential of people and understand what's going on in between our ears is this common thread that I think is both personal and also plays a role in my professional side as well.
And that means that you're in amongst a group of people who are truly aligned in spirit and soul, and are here to help really champion the positive difference that we want to see in the world, and we want to be it and walk our talk. So let's talk about FocusCalm and the device, and why perhaps you and I realize that this relationship between Positive Prime and FocusCalm is truly fabulous, unique, groundbreaking, and where maybe we can paint a picture for everybody to understand what's possible for the future.
Certainly. So a little bit of context. At BrainCo, we've been developing brain-computer interface technology, which is just a fancy way of saying technology that connects your brain with the world around you, for the past 7 years. We started in the Harvard Innovation Lab and now have grown to about 300 people with offices around the world. And we develop all different types of brain-computer interfaces. So we help people have better control over their prosthetics. We help people learn about neuroscience in middle school and high school and college. And we also empower people to train their own brain, train their own mind for better well-being, better performance, all different types of outcomes. And the inflection point when we met Kim, first we knew there was some special energy there that we wanted to partner and work with. And then I think it was in maybe the second or third meeting, you really opened our eyes to this big idea. So the big idea is the technology that we have that we've been using with Formula One race car drivers, with professional athletes, with different types of companies that are trying to help their employees improve their well-being. There was a space that we had kind of thought about, but it wasn't until we met the folks at Positive Prime that we really opened our eyes to this opportunity. There are already millions of people out there in the form of clinicians and coaches that are working directly with clients that want or are looking for ways to amplify their impact. And from our perspective, what the story we've been talking about with these athletes, like we work with the bobsled team that was the US bobsled team that was just competing in Beijing, and they got it right away. They understand, the athletes understand that up to a certain point, working out, getting stronger and faster is really good, but then it becomes purely a mental game. And talking with Kim and her and her team's expertise as it relates to positive psychology, like that's that whole game. That's that whole space. Is how do we fine tune what's going on in our internal world so we can have a greater impact on our external world. And then she keyed us into this idea of, well, if we could take those same principles, those same concepts that these high-level athletes are using to, these are the top performing humans in the world, right? Formula One race car drivers going 200 miles an hour, using our devices to stay calm and cool under pressure and deal with all of the mental side of their performance and well-being on and off the track, both personally and professionally. If we could partner and bring that same technology into this space that Positive Prime inhabits and all the wonderful people that Kim and her team work with, what would happen? And not only for those people in the community, but the people that you all work with. That's, I think, what Kim is talking about this ripple effect. And it's been the past few months now that we've been brainstorming and thinking about how do we package this in the right way to make it as effective and user-friendly as possible. And that's the course that Patty was referring to.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so what do you think so far? Tell us some of the keys that you've listened to, these key messages that have really been resonating. Talk to us in the chat if you like. Jackie Simmons has actually said that she loves, Max, that you've had a lifelong interest in human potential. And there are a lot of people in this community who have spent at least 20, 30, 40 years in some cases, literally devoted to understanding their own potential and working as coaches and counselors and doctors and so forth in bringing that about. So Max and his team and I and my team, and because I listened to all of our professional leaders, we came up with this idea that life coaches who leveraged a device like a FocusCalm would actually be able to provide evidence, which is often sorely missing, for their clients on either the efficacy of a suggested activity, right? And there's a lot of credibility around that, which is like an elephant in the room, another Jackie Simmons. And what's interesting about self-directed learning and self-awareness and neurofeedback and the way that we are as human beings is that when we track and measure something, there is this higher self part of us that literally tries to get better. And so that's great for humanity and it's great for our clients. So irrespective of whether you use this and leverage it and harness it as a professional tool that helps you to actually further your own goals in your own business as either a clinician, a therapist, or a teacher, or a trainer, etc., using it yourself is fascinating. And we've noticed some pretty interesting things with Positive Prime, haven't we, Max?
Certainly. Certainly.
Okay.
I can speak to some of that if you'd like. I think it's really
I'd love you
fascinating.
too.
The neuroscientist in me gets a little giddy when we do new experiments, or when anyone in our community or extended community does new experiments. So a little bit of context here. So the headband is like a heart rate monitor for your brain. So it's passively detecting the activity that your mind is always giving off. Right now, your brain's producing a lot of different electrical activity from your neurons, your brain cells. And you'll learn a lot about how to talk the talk and walk the walk in the course that we're putting together. But the headband is like a passive measure of your brain activity. And then we can visualize it on your smartphone, on your Android or your iPhone. And with that information, you can understand what's happening when you're doing a Positive Prime session and what of the different types of sessions has the impact that you think it probably already is. But I think an important thing that you mentioned, Kim, is we know these things work, and now we can show everyone that they do with a real neuroscience measurement. And not only can we validate the things that we know work, we can also experiment and find new things that maybe we had a hunch that it was having an impact on our minds, and now we can experiment and test and show that it does. And the great thing about this is everyone is different. Everyone has certain things that work really well for them. And as a tool, because we can measure on a scale from 0 to 100 how calm and at ease your mind is, you can figure out for yourself, or you can help your clients figure out what's the best recipe, or what's the best Positive Prime session, what's the best meditation to listen to, what's the best breathing exercise to do to get into that desired state. So it is a lot about self-discovery. There's plenty of content, but I think actually the magic is, from my perspective, is when you use it as a measurement tool and pair it with something like Positive Prime and start to experiment and understand yourself, understand the world, help your clients understand themselves. That's when these really interesting things pop up. I'll leave you with one story about this topic. We heard from some of our users, they were tracking their FocusCalm score, and their cat jumped into their lap, and then they started petting their cat, and their FocusCalm score went through the roof. And you can imagine if you have an animal, that calming feeling while you're spending time with your animal, say your cat or your dog, and that kind of warm sense that flows through you, something is physiologically happening. And with FocusCalm, you can measure that. And so the same thing is true with Positive Prime. When you're watching these sessions and you feel yourself tuning in, and you start to feel that momentum build, there's actually something going on. And with FocusCalm, you can see that, you can track it over time.
It is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to give you some headlines, and then we're going to go back and actually, I don't like the word unpack, but we're going to dive more deeply into each of the aspects. So we're inviting our Positive Prime professional leaders to participate in the very first certification program with FocusCalm for coaches and therapists, right? Some of you heard this announcement in a very nebulous form a couple of months ago. And if you're not yet a Positive Prime professional, you must be a Positive Prime professional in order to participate in this program. We're going to start with doing this great course that FocusCalm have put together, and then reinforcing all of the aspects that are in our own certification program. And so being a Positive Prime professional and being a Positive Prime and FocusCalm professional is literally going to, I think, amplify. I think 1 + 1 here equals 3. And so we're going to be moving in this direction where we want everybody to come in and do a Positive Prime certification, but we also want them to do a FocusCalm certification. And we want to make sure that those people who are going through both certification programs can buy the device at a reasonable price with a little bit of a discount to make it, you know, easier. So it's not just as easy as us saying, hey, go do the course. You actually have to have a device first and kind of have to have this foundation in Positive Prime, and then you can actually participate in the course. So we have a suggestion for you if you're interested in the combined Positive Prime and FocusCalm certifications and going on this journey with us, and then being somebody who can leverage the FocusCalm device opportunity, and you can then sell these devices to your clients if that's what you would wish for. Right, so we actually have a course start date, which is the 6th of May. Now, the course is actually totally online, but what we believe in this very first cohort is that you are going to want to participate together. Now, we know that you need to tell us that you'd like to do this, and so you need to send us an email. Then what will happen is we will actually send you an invoice that you will pay. Once you've paid the invoice, if you don't yet have a device, we'll include that in the invoice, and you can just tell us, I don't yet have a device, and we will organize with FocusCalm that you actually receive your device, and all of this happens before we start the course in May together. So we're all basically going to do it together starting Friday, the 6th of May. And you're going to do the course online, but then there's going to be a group gathering, studying, discussing, talking, and we're going to have some special guests. So week 1, 2, 3, 4 will actually be about setting you up to actually go and explore the course and make sure that you reinforce the learning and make sure that you're out there actually then sharing what it is that you're learning with others so that you integrate that as a real understanding. Does that sound fair? Okay, so I'm going to go back over these things. You need to send us an email to register for the course. Once we receive your email, we will send you an invoice. And once you've paid the invoice, we'll actually all get started and you'll be in the study groups, and the study groups are being run by Patty. Patty is the one who has been doing the most amount of work so closely with the people who are actually developing the content for the course. And the course, FocusCalm's course, is amazing. All right, so for those of you who are wondering, you get a very special opportunity to have a lifetime membership for the app that is FocusCalm's app. That's a really important thing for you to know. So when you actually come through the Positive Prime door, you can have access to the lifetime membership at an amazing price. And of course, you actually get the device, and we'll organize for it to be sent to you. Good idea? Now, some of you might be wondering, what's the certification cost? Well, the certification costs $5,000 in its current state, opened to a much larger audience. However, for this very first group, what we want to add in here is, don't we, Max? Max is like, no, I want 5,000 to be in there, but no, yes, it is actually $1,000 for everyone. So if you already have a device, all you need to do is basically say, I already have a device and I'm registering for the course and I'm ready to get started on Friday, the 6th of May. Good plan? Alrighty, now let's go back. Max, Laurence, Patty, what's in the course? Why would someone pay to do this course? And does this mean that they'll have exclusive rights to distribute as great role models the device for their clients? What's going to be the groovy story that these people are going to have for their clients about their involvement with FocusCalm? Max,
well,
do you want to start?
Yeah, well, first of all, this is the pioneer group who are going to be the first coaches, I guess, in the world to gain the expertise that we've been building for the past 6 years. So we have PhDs from Harvard and MIT, coaches that work with, the F1 drivers, all the content you would need to know FocusCalm as well as we do and how we talk about it to our clients, and be an expert at using it for yourself and with your clients. So you will walk away not only, of course, with the headband and the app and all the great stuff and the certification from taking the course, but you'll be one of the few people on the planet who can talk the talk and walk the walk as it relates to neuroscience, brain-computer interface, using the technology that these Olympic athletes and Formula One drivers are doing, and bring it into your practice. And we've broken down the course in such a way where it's really easy to digest. There's check-ins, there's different content, there's video, it's in written form if that's how you digest information better. There's handouts, different types of materials that you can use after the course when you're explaining this to other people. So the vision is, this is the first cohort in the world to experience this process and be FocusCalm, neuroscience, and positive prime experts. There's no one on the planet right now who's that combination of neuroscience, FocusCalm, and positive prime experts who's working with clients. And this cohort is going to be the first people to do that.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? Did you all hear that?
Yeah.
Did you all hear that? I just want to do a super sneak preview. Can I just do a screen share? They can't access it, they can't see it, but guys, I want for all of you to understand the concepts of brain training. And I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. I want you to understand mental efficiency with Dr. Ocado. Okay, I can't show anymore. All right, I stopped sharing. Max is like, no, Kim, don't show them the inside just yet. Oh. All righty. There's so much to this course. It really is awesome value. What has been put together is because Max and Laurence have been able to leverage some pretty precious relationships. Is that not true?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the first time that a lot of these people have created content like this, especially for this course. And so it's certainly the first time that all of these different people are together in one course to allow you to understand the core concepts, understand the talking points, understand how to apply concepts with the headband, and also how to understand and apply concepts about brain training and neuroscience in general. So when people ask you a question, well, what do you mean by that? You have enough information to really expertly fill in the details there. And maybe that will make for some really interesting conversations at dinner. It will certainly be really helpful when you're working with your clients. But all these different things about the anatomy of breathing, what's going through the mind of a Formula One race car driver, and how do they attain that peak performance? What are the core concepts of meditation that matter in a modern world? I think something that is really unique about this program that we're putting together is to take ancient wisdom and modernize it. It's not our belief that meditation is for everyone. I think some people love meditation. I think some people struggle with it. So what are the actual kind of threads within the meditation traditions that are most useful for the modern world? And I think these are all of the types of things that you'll be able to talk about, that you'll be able to explain, and that you'll be able to apply.
Brilliant. Max, for those people who haven't seen you actually present what is FocusCalm, right? and why is this device actually superior to other neurofeedback devices and EEG devices out there? Could we address that for a moment? And then I'm going to encourage everybody to go back and watch another presentation that Max did for the members of the EPIC community. So we'll actually open up access for you to see that one. So before we just dive into some questions, which might be, hey, tell us, so what? So how? Can we just do that really high level stuff?
Yeah.
Why is it? Because people go, oh, I've got my own EEG device. Is it as good as blah, blah, blah?
Yeah, sure. Kim, do you think it'd be all right if I maybe show some slides? I think that might, the visual might help.
Yeah,
Great.
please do. We'll let you get there. And Audrey Weidman's asked a question whilst you're doing that. So how does this compare to HeartMath and their device? So we'll talk about that. But anyway, keep going. Away you go.
Sure. So the core difference is the team we've put together from the best universities in the world has resulted in innovations in neuroscience and BCI, brain-computer interface technology. So for example, what this has allowed us to do is create the world's most accurate prosthetic hand that gives users control over individual finger movement. So you can see one of our users here who lost his left hand rock climb with the prosthetic device. And what it's doing is decoding his neural signals from his brain that travel down to the residual limb, the part of his arm that's still left. And we're able to decode those signals with such accuracy that allow him to control his individual finger movements. We actually did the same thing for people with lower limb loss as well. So this gentleman is using one of the world's only muscle signal powered prosthetic devices to do this really fancy dance. We don't have to watch the whole dance, but we can see his moves here. And this type of expertise that we have in the team that's allowed us to create these types of prosthetics also translates to how we understand the brain. So I'll jump ahead just a little bit here. But for people who have an understanding of neurofeedback and neuroscience, the core principles, this is either a refresher or the intro, is to measure your brain activity, the electrical activity. Historically, we've used really big research caps like this, and the data ends up looking like something on the right. You need to typically be a neurologist or a researcher to make sense of that data. And then the transformation over the past maybe couple of decades as it relates to neurofeedback products is to take that information, maybe have a easier form factor and use these frequency bands. So maybe these look familiar: beta band, alpha band, theta band, delta band. And a lot of the algorithms, 99% of the algorithms out there that are used for neurofeedback use these frequency bands. And they're a good way to understand what's going on in the brain. But often they will use maybe 3 features in the algorithm. An example is the NASA engagement index, which uses the power of beta. How much beta activity do we see? Divided by how much alpha and theta activity do we see? So it's using 3 features. So to answer your question here, Kim, the big innovation, in addition to the hardware and how easy it is to use the app, is how we detect what's going on in your brain. So instead of using 3 features like the NASA engagement algorithm, we use over 1,000 features in the raw signal. And this may be getting a little sciencey, but the easy way to understand it is, instead of imposing our beliefs about what beta, theta, and alpha should mean, and that it should be true across the whole population, we let the brain do the talking. So we have these experts in machine learning and artificial intelligence, and the experts in neurofeedback, and the experts in the hardware design, which this type of combination hasn't happened before. But because we have these expertise, especially on the algorithm side, we're able to use 1,000 features instead of just 3 features in the signal. And what this allows us to do is get a much more accurate read of what's going on in your brain. And when you have that more accurate read, it makes the whole system more intuitive. It makes the output more accurate, and it gives you more power to do more experiments, to do more types of training. So the big differentiator is the way we approach the algorithm and processing all that information is a huge advance over what is typically done, even in the clinics. And the clinical model for neurofeedback is great. It works. It's wonderful. But our perspective is, especially for making it more user-friendly, you need this more advanced algorithm approach. You know, the algorithm engineers from Harvard and MIT that we have in our team, that's what really sets us apart and makes it possible to turn into such a user-friendly app.
That's such a sensational overview. Thank you, Max. Laurence, I'm pretty sure you're proud of Max, and I'm incredibly astonished every single time I hear you speak and actually frame it differently. We are all very, very, very lucky indeed. Okay, so how about you put into the chat, given that people are going to watch this recording, put into the chat so they won't see it anyway, who's in, who's sending the email, who's registering, just so Max and Laurence and Patty get a feel for it. And whilst we do that, I'm going to go back to actually sharing my screen, just in case those of you who are asking, let's put it up here. So it's $1,314.99. Who wants to actually add that up and tell me if we've got that right? Right? And you email us and you register before the 22nd of April. Who's taking a screenshot of that? And you must be a Positive Prime professional in order to participate. If you're not yet a Positive Prime professional, you need to have that conversation with me and Mayumi and Patty. It starts at either $500 for the standard basic raw level, all the way up to being an ambassador at $10,000. Up to you. Alrighty, so back here, here is your study group schedule. And I'm going to go now back to the chat. Anybody got any questions for Max? You've got him. It's really, 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 really hard to get a hold of Max. If you've got a question or you want him to raise your hand, do a little dance, go, hey, make sure you notice me. Now is your time. Go.
I got a question. Max, what I heard you present was that this is a monitor and it tells you how calm you are, how focused you are. So when you have a low score, does the device also do some therapy, or does it adjust this neuroplasticity or the neurons in the brain? Like how does it do that then?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So it's actually the pairing of the measurement device with the intervention of your choice. So in the FocusCalm app, there are meditations that teach you how to raise your score and relax your mind. I'm sure there's plenty of different variations of positive prime sessions you can do that will also raise your score. There's breathing exercises in the app. There's different brain games you can practice to enter that state of high focus calm. So the thing that we believe is empowering people with the skills that last a lifetime. And how do you do that? You do that by practicing them yourself. The headband acts as a validation and also a training tool by playing these games with your brain. So for example, there are games where you are making a rocket ship fly just by using your brain. So by practicing the positive prime feelings, practicing the feelings you get from meditation or breathing exercises, you make the rocket ship fly by getting into the focus calm zone. So the headband does act as a training tool, but it's mostly a way to understand what's going on in your brain when you're doing these different practices. And it can be paired with, like I was saying, positive prime. It can be paired with breathing exercises, etc. But there are content in the app that will help you understand and gain those skills. What we don't do is stimulate the brain. Right, the stimulation approach is out there, but I think that there's more longevity and sustainability when you give people the tools themselves and have them practice those skills. So that's the model that we work with.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
Great question, Gunther. Thank you so much. Gunther is one of our great thought leaders inside our community, and also very au fait, Laurence and Max, with conversations with venture capitalists and private equity peeps and technology founders and so forth. So he's a real gem for all of us. Bruce Barnes says, count me in. So that's great. Nadine is saying that she actually uses hers and uses it faithfully whilst watching Positive Prime. And she's just incredibly amazed at how effective it is. There is also somebody who's not here with us, but I do know reports similarly, and that's Rachel. Rachel's over in the United Kingdom. And so it's way too late for her. She'll be snuggled up in bed, snoring, hopefully. And so she's not here, but she is already using her FocusCalm device with other pharmacists. She's actually a trainer. She's a pharmacist, but she's a trainer to pharmacists and talks about well-being in the workplace, in the apothecary, or in the actual chemist environment. So she's a fascinating lady. So if you're not yet a Positive Prime professional at this time, it's very simple and easy. You simply join us on that journey at a minimum of either $500 or further up, depending upon what suits you. There are some people who've just signed up recently to be an ambassador, and the ambassador level means that we actually have included this for you. So Positive Prime is actually paying FocusCalm directly the full amount on your behalf. So there is at least a couple of people in our community who are very recent ambassador level members of our Positive Prime professional community, and some relatively new members of our EPIC program who are ambassadors. Alrighty, so who else has a comment? Laurence, is there anything you would like to add? I'd love everybody to get to know you, because interestingly enough, if any of you have any support issues with FocusCalm specifically, Laurence is just precious, isn't he, Patty? So Laurence, come on out so at least everybody gets to see you, and just tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do at FocusCalm and where you come from and why you're on this wild journey with Max.
So I appreciate the time with everybody. So my name is Laurence Francini. I'm the VP of Sales over at Brainco, which is a division of, or actually FocusCalm is a division of Brainco. One of the things too that I just want to point out on the course and also on FocusCalm, the advantage with the course is really unique, because this is the same training and tools that are being used with Olympic coaches, Olympic athletes, as well as, you know, we talk about Formula One, but we're actually working with the same big four. So, you know, football, basketball, baseball, and hockey, and then obviously in National Women's Soccer League as well. So when we look at the grand scheme of things with sport, but when we talk to everybody, we always ask them, you know, hey, when it comes to your athletes, what's the most important thing? They all say the same thing, the mental game. And it's really great, because then we just ask them and say, okay, great. What are you doing to help train those athletes and get them prepared for whatever their competition is with the mental side of things? I don't know. Well, we got a sports psychologist. I guess we kind of send them over there. Or sometimes they'll talk about visualization, and some of that is really great for athletes and whatever. But when you actually say to them, well, if the mental game is so important to you, and it's the difference between winning and losing, and it's the difference maker between all the athletes, then why aren't you training that? They have over 1,000 physical training modalities, but yet they focus only on those things because they can tangibly see this. So now for the first time, you get to see the effectiveness of mental training, and more importantly, you get to see the effectiveness of Positive Prime. And, you know, so you'll have these people that'll sit there and go, I don't know if I feel like it works. This is proof in case that it does work, and it does show what is possible and how it does affect you and how it does change lives. So that's one thing in there. And just a little background on me. I spent 22 years working for Verizon Wireless in various executive roles throughout the country. And then it got to a point where I saw my son being addicted to his cell phone, and a real nice dad that he gets his son addicted to a cell phone. We see that problem everywhere. My wife and I talked about it, and I pretty much quit the next week. And when I left, you know, I got lucky enough to be, you know, we got hooked up with Brainco, and that really changed everything, because here we are working in a technology company for so long. you get blind to what you're doing, right? And, you know, you're just chasing an almighty dollar and just getting more subscribers on, and that's it. And there's really no benefit to that. But now for the first time, you know, I got to actually focus on changing people's lives and actually working on things that are for the betterment of humanity as a whole. And while that may seem a little hokey, it is actually what we do here at FocusCalm and at BrainCo as a whole. And, you know, I've been lucky enough to work with Max now almost 4 years. And, you know, I haven't, you know, I can say this, I have yet to go to work, but I work my backside off because it just has a passion now. So it doesn't feel like I'm working anymore. And I think that's one of the benefits here. And so I'm glad that we're blessed to be here together. And, you know, I'm really excited to have you guys do the course with us and to learn from everyone as well. And I know Kim will definitely, Patty will definitely share all my contact information too. So if there's any other questions or support issues or anything that you need, please just let us know. And myself and my team will be standing by for you.
Quick
Oh,
question.
I love that.
Question. So just to clarify, the lifetime access is to the FocusCalm application, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, and then the certification is the online course plus the study groups.
Yep.
Okay.
That is correct.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
You know, there's a couple of other things here. I'd love to actually go to the chat. Max and Laurence. Someone's asking, will the training go into how to actually use the device for different situations? Nadine, you might also then add what kinds of different situations, shall we?
Yeah. So the FocusCalm app and also the Positive Prime modality can address a variety of situations. When you're using the headband with a client, the underlying method is understand their needs, give them the right type of tool, and show them how it's changing their brain. Within the FocusCalm app, we have different programs that address, and this is the same for Positive Prime as well, you know, addressing different things like confidence, feeling pressure at the workplace, dealing with trouble sleeping, dealing with acute stress that you might feel throughout the day, trying to get into the flow, dealing with uncertainty. All these different types of topics are addressed both in Positive Prime and in FocusCalm. And as part of the course, you'll learn how to kind of like prescribe the right type of tool or training to do to get the job done. And by putting these things together, now you have, like Laurence is saying, a way to show the impact. It's not only, oh, do you feel better? It's, see, as you're doing this, your brain is changing. And one of the magical moments that you guys will find early on is when you go, holy cow, I can actually change my brain in real time. Like when I do this Positive Prime session, when I do this meditation, I can see my brain change. And I think that's a really empowering moment, both for coaches and also when you're working with the client, showing them that, yes, you actually can change your brain. And it can be as simple as doing one of these practices. So just to circle back on your question, yes, we'll be walking you through how to use FocusCalm in different scenarios and the different common problems that that your clients might bump into.
Yeah, and I would just like to add, we will have in the course there's some downloadable material, and some of that will also include certain protocols as well. So you'll be able to have a starter protocol where you'll be able to see what, you know, we prescribe, let's say like on a 3-week, you know, get to know the app. Then will be some others that you can use as well. And then you'll be able to have the expertise to, as Max said, kind of build out your own protocols from that.
You know, I see something in there from Christine Tiley. She's actually one of the stars of our community. And she is on her way to the Olympics in karate, right? So there's a whole nother story about that because she had some pseudoaneurysms and strokes very recently. And she's actually been getting incredible pictures of her brain because of what she went through. And her neurologist said to her, it's highly likely you'll have some difficulty talking and walking for a while, which was in fact the case, but she speaks beautifully. Christine, if you're there and you do want to come on out, do tell us how you actually use your FocusCalm device whilst you're doing your kata training. Is that possible?
Yeah, hello. I love it. And the combination with Positive Prime and FocusCalm is amazing. I've discovered for myself with my training that if I prepare myself first with some Positive Prime sessions and then do my katas, I am much more effective. And I actually wear the device not all the time, but quite regularly when I'm training, doing my katas or doing my weapons training. And it is remarkable the difference that I have already seen by using more Positive Prime, using some of the tools within the app itself, as to how quickly I get into the ideal zone with my katas and how long I can stay there now. When I first started doing it, it wasn't too bad. I was quite happy with myself, but it's next level now, absolutely next level. And that's starting to reflect in my performances at national level tournaments as well, which is pretty exciting.
Thank you, Christine. I caught you on the spot there, didn't I? Alrighty. Max and Laurence, would you like to actually comment on how long have we intended it will take people to actually go through the online training, and why do we have 4 study groups that are effectively 2 weeks apart in planning? So why are we trying to actually do this as a group over 8 weeks, and is that long enough? What are people freaking out about or not going to freak out about?
So there's 4 main sections within the course. And so that's why we've strategically broken it up into these different sections, these different study groups. So we have sections on understanding the fundamentals of neuroscience and BCI. That's kind of the talk the talk space. How can you understand what's going on in the brain, probably better than 99% of the people out there, and how to apply it. And then we talk about the core concepts that power FocusCalm. So the core concepts are mental efficiency, how to use the right level of effort given the situation that you're in, meditation, brain training, breathing exercises, sports psychology, positive psychology, kind of the engine that powers this whole thing. Then the next section is really about the product itself. So being expert level on EEG, particularly the FocusCalm headband, being expert level on how to use the app and all the different features that are in there so that you can really effortlessly prescribe the right protocol for either yourself or your clients. And then the last section is about pulling it all together. How does this fit in within the work you're doing with Positive Prime? How does this fit in with the work you're doing with your clients? And how can you talk about FocusCalm to your clients to either use it in practice, or like some of the people we've seen resell the headband to their clients so they can use it both in the office or at home. So we're really kind of stepping people through the foundation of neuroscience, the foundation of FocusCalm, how to use it expertly, and then also how to talk about it and use it in your practice. And so each section we've broken down into about 5 to 10 videos, and the videos vary in length, but we're looking at about 5 to 10 hours per section. So I think in total right now we're landing somewhere around 20 to 30 hours of total content. And then also there's a supplementary material that you can take home with you or bring into your practice that you can use as reference guides when you're talking about FocusCalm. So that's and Positive Prime and how they fit together. So that's the 2-week strategy. It gives you enough time to, at your own pace, digest the material and then get together as a group to talk over the main points, share insights, share ideas, and then go back into the course for the next 2-week cycle.
Brilliant answer. I'm also typing in the chat to all the questions. Alrighty. So let's go over this again, shall we? Laurence is your man. If there are any issues whatsoever, someone did ask, will I have issues if I wear it in water? Absolutely. The device is not to be used near water, in water, around water, where water is involved, okay? They have managed to actually get the device to people in Canada and people like me in Australia as soon as we've ordered. So listen super carefully in case you need the instructions again. 1, send us an email, right? 1, send us an email and say, I'm registering for the course. Absolutely, I'm all in. And please send me the invoice. We'll send you the invoice. If the invoice needs to have paying for the device, we'll add it if you don't already have the device. If you already have the device, then all you actually have to pay is $1,000 US. We literally get you in and up and running. The course starts all together on May the 6th. We have deadlines because there are going to be lots of people who are actually watching this as a replay and then sending it to somebody else who also might be interested, okay? So the payment deadline is Friday, the 29th of April. So that's the payment deadline. And that's for the course. If you need a device, then obviously you need to organize yourself pretty quick, smart. If you send us an email today, you know, maybe and I will get back to you within 24, 48 hours. We'll send you the invoice. You can pay the invoice. We'll talk to our friends at FocusCalm. Your device will be on its way. And so that's pretty exciting, isn't it? Pretty exciting. Alrighty. What else do you need to know? Anything you need to know? Is that it? Okay, I do see one more question in there, and it's from Kathleen. Would you comment on any work that FocusCalm has been involved in with children and then separately with people with autism?
Yeah, so we did this really wonderful study with families across the country in the US, and all the children had some sort of attention deficit. A lot of them were diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. And what we saw after 20 sessions of using the neurofeedback training was a reduction in their ADHD symptoms, all their attention-related symptoms. We saw some really great statistically significant improvement, but the more interesting story or aspect to me was all these emotional comorbidities that you typically see with ADHD or attention issues, things like anxiety, things like emotional distress, things like defiant behavior. All of those also we saw statistically significant reductions in these symptoms as well. And I think it's the special combination of both focus training and relaxation training that really help these children. In addition to that, we do have some work going on right now with some different hospitals around the world looking at how neurofeedback training can help people with autism learn better self-regulation and even affect their social skills. We're working with clinics and actually have one of our own clinics that pairs traditional behavioral therapy with neurofeedback. And probably over the next year or so, we'll be building that out into a more formal platform. But right now, FocusCalm can be used by anyone who wants to learn different focus skills, different executive function skills, different relaxation skills. Of course, you can pair it with Positive Prime. So all the ways that Positive Prime helps, FocusCalm can help augment that. And I think that encompasses a lot of people with attention issues or maybe are on the spectrum, not necessarily treating the disease. We wouldn't claim that it treats the disease, but we would say that it can help people learn how to relax, learn how to focus, and who doesn't need that?
Jackie Simmons, I can see you wearing your headband. Would you like to come on out and comment because you're a fan of FocusCalm and you're ready to do the certification and you've done so many others and provide your own certification as well. So you've got all of your own coaches who are all going to be on this journey as well.
It wasn't my journey that got me involved at this level of FocusCalm. It was actually my sister. Okay, so mine has turned off, so I'll take it off. Look, now it's going to turn back on. There we go. All right. So my sister Millie is a nurse practitioner. She spends her days making decisions that could literally be life or death for the people she works with. And she's able to use this device and Positive Prime. And she says, Jackie, I had it green. And she sends me these notes and said, it was in the green. And I'm like, mine's blue. Is that like wrong or something? Yeah. So I have a belief system that says you can't do it wrong. So I just say I'm just a Padawan and she's already a master at this. So what I love about this is that for what Positive Prime is doing, for what I'm doing with the conscious transformational coaching, we can actually get real-time feedback as to whether what we are doing is having an impact. And so I'll take mine off because, just so you guys know, I just came off a 3-day event. So I have been on stage for, a lot of time over the last few days. And the value, though, of knowing what's going on in my head, I can feed it Positive Prime all day long, but if it's not enough, how would I know? If it's working, how would I know? FocusCalm allows me to answer that question. Is it working? And that's what I like about it. That's what I like about it for my coaches, for my clients, and for me. So thank you for asking, Kim.
Thank you. Okay, so we're nearly up for the hour. Anybody got any other burning question? Come on out, unmute yourself. We all good?
Kim.
Just a quick question. I'm just curious if there's any, I wouldn't think so, but is there any issue with how often you use it? Like how many times a day or anything like that?
Yeah, there's no upper limit. It would just be how much you want to.
Yeah.
The training that we put together and that Positive Prime recommends, that might be a good place to start to do it with those, however long you want your sessions to be. But we do have people who use it for hours at a time. What we say is it takes about 15 minutes of training a few times per week to start seeing results. But there are people who like to use it way more, especially if you want to do some, we have some like expert meditators that will sit and wear it for an hour or something while they're doing their meditation. But there's no upper limit.
Cool. Thank you.
Brilliant.
Oh.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. What's
I had
even
a
more
question.
brilliant is that, away you go, Marsha.
I just had a question regarding first responders, veterans, and people who suffer from PTSD. How has there been any studies done with them?
Yeah, we are currently in the works with Duke University for doing a study specifically with veterans with suffering from PTSD, which is something very near and dear to my heart. And then we have 2 other universities, one being Seton Hall, studying and also we're starting another one with one of our corporate partners around police, fire, and first responders. And that is something that we're absolutely, we know we can definitely help. It's just a matter of getting, everybody wants to see the white paper or the published paper on that. So that's where we're starting right now.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
All righty.
Hey, Kim,
Yes,
this is-
Robin.
just to let you know, I mean, as a veteran, I absolutely enjoy it. Now, granted, I'm not, luckily I don't have PTSD and things like that. However, I have, and I off and on do have stress because just working, I'm retired in the military. I still work for the military, and it's still a stressful job. So I totally enjoy it.
Thank you for that, Robin, and thank you for your service. We actually work with, I don't know if you know or familiar with Dr. Teresa Larson or John McAskill. Those are, so John and Teresa help run Movement RX, and they do not only for differently abled combat wounded veterans, and they also do use the device in there as well.
We're about to learn so much more together as we go on this journey, and as FocusCalm and BrainCo grow and develop and expand and exceed all of their own expectations as well as all of our own. We're going to be alongside of them, partnering with them, spreading the good news. And for those of you who are definitely diving in and being a pioneer, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It does take courage, no doubt about it. And we certainly appreciate those of you who are willing to suspend a little bit of either disbelief or fear. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. It's going to be great personal development, self-improvement for yourself. And I quite like the idea, this is just me, of paying now and not later and spending 5 times more. Handy, I think. Anyway, we won't be telling anyone as soon as we go through our second group that it was $1,000. Everybody agree? We won't be telling everybody that we did it when it was $1,000. All righty.
So does this include, just another quick question, does this include essentially like an affiliate program where, you know, being able to sell the headsets and get some sort of commission on that?
Yeah, do you want to talk about that, Max and Laurence? That's a brilliant question, Bruce.
Yes, yeah. So we want to make sure that the people who carry the word out about FocusCalm are well trained, and by completing this course, getting the certification, that will grant you access to resell the headband and the whole FocusCalm system to your clients or to other people as well. Only if you complete the certification, though.
Is that limited to certain countries that you can sell it to? Like
no.
North America, Australia, obviously, or?
Yeah, no, all of North America. Yeah, we actually are European Union certified, so that's not a problem. We actually have a certification in Brazil, of all places, Anatel in South America as well. So not a problem there.
Awesome, thanks.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. How often will we be doing the training? We'll basically be doing revolving study groups and an ever-increasing number of people in these groups. And then inside the study groups, we'll be having breakouts and so forth. So there'll be FocusCalm, Positive Prime professionals going out and igniting and inspiring others around the world. So this is the beginning of something beautiful and great. Audrey, is there an upper limit to how many people can get into this first course? Absolutely, there is. There is, because Max would quite like to earn $5,000 per certification instead of 1, wouldn't you, as the president of your organization, Max and Laurence? What's the upper limit? Because that's not a decision that I can make.
You know, I think we should put our heads together. I think there are some competing forces. I think that we tend to want to make it as small and personable as possible, you know, while balancing the desire for people to join this. So I think the principle to go off of is we're going to intentionally keep it small. So if you do want to be a part of it, I think it's important to email Kim and sign up as soon as possible. I would hate for you guys to miss this first cohort, but we'll put our heads together and release a firm, more final number after this call.
Okay, thank you so much for asking, Audrey. There is actually one other question that's technical. If you have a lifetime membership and you have the app on your phone, you have one device, is there a limit to the number of people in a family who can use that device and or can use the app on the one device where the app is residing?
So the headband is actually designed to a one-to-many solution. So your same family members could all use it. They would just need their own subscription because you want to have each person have their own data, and so they can see their own level of improvement going forward. So you can just purchase just the lifetime subscription as an add-on to what you already have.
Excellent. Laurence or Max, could you direct somebody who's interested in looking at any of the studies that you've actually done? So if they want to go to your website or they want to go or inquire and they want to see a little bit more deeply, Is there any public resources that aren't commercial in confidence that you're happy to share? Where do we find those, or how does someone find them?
Yeah, I think maybe we can share them with you, Kim, and you can send them out to your group. We can make them publicly available. The ADHD study, the different studies that we've done with adults and looking at well-being and anxiety and burnout. I think that might be the best way to do it. We can share them directly with your community.
There is a workplace wellness study that is available that for download, so you can definitely access that as well. But I think that would be great. Kim, we can get the others over to you.
Awesome. Alrighty. If there's any link you'd like anybody to go and check out, do put it in the chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, if you've been hanging in there long enough, email Mayumi, MAYUMI @positiveprime.com. Do CC me, KIM @positiveprime.com, and do CC Paddy, PATTIE @positiveprime.com. Thank you so much, Max. Thanks, Laurence, for joining us. I'm excited, and congratulations. And the course, certainly from what I've reviewed, is beautiful.
Thank you,
like
Kim.
Everybody who knows that I put together the Positive Prime certification knows that I really have a high standard for the quality of knowledge and information, and more importantly, how we apply it. And I think you guys have done a really beautiful job with the course. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All righty. Speak to you soon. Yes, Lisa, we're so excited. Thanks, Marnie. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Audrey. Thanks, Marsha. See you, everyone. Look forward to receiving your emails. We'll get you sorted. You know, we're very well organized over here at Positive Prime. Bye. Hugs.
Bye.